postdoctoral fellow. He is doing postdoctorate from IIT Kharagpur under the Professor Sudeep Mishraji. Dr. Nujaman has done BTech and AmTech in Computer Science and Engineering from Nehu, and he has done his PhD from IIT Kharagpur. Uh,
It's postdoc.
Dr. Yes, yes. So presently he's a postdoctoral research associate in Department of Computer Science in IIT Kharagpur. He's having he has published approximately more than 40 plus research paper indexed in SCI and Scopus Journal. He has filed 2 patents. He's an active member of various reputed international organizations like IEEE ComSoc, and Indian Science Congress Association as well. Uh, his current research interest includes software-defined networks, Internet of Things, and Wi-Fi-based long-distance networks. Uh, Dr. Nujaman Ahmad will be speaking today about the various platforms and protocols for the next generation's IoT. Although we have heard from the Gautam Sahaji, the LoRaWAN, the latest platform for the IoT, but Dr. Nujaman will be adding more, and he will be talking more on some other platforms on IoT. Sir, most welcome. On behalf of Department of Computer Science and IT University of Jammu, I once again welcome you on board, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation for the talk, sir. We are very sure that your talk will be really very fruitful, and we will learn all the participants, those who are from approximately, we have 140, 150 active participants across the India they are, and we are sure that we are going to learn, we are going to hear a lot of good things about the IoT from your side. So please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor. That was nice introduction for me. Yeah. So, is it visible my screen? Can you see my screen, sir?
Yes, yes, we can see, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, my audio also quality is good, right, sir? Yeah.
Yes, sir, it's good. And all the participants, if they have any issue, they will be raising the hands
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of
So in
they will
between,
be
if
joining.
any, yeah, sure, sir. Yeah. So in between, if any questions or anything, they can raise their hand and they can stop me like asking a question.
Or in the end
Yeah.
of the
So in
session, we
between.
will be we have a question answer session. Thank you, sir. Go ahead,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. So that is also possible. Yes, sure, sir. Okay. So I should start now then. So yeah, so the topic that I choose to present today is platforms and protocols for next generation IoT. The IoT you already know. I guess the previous lecture also Professor Shah told about introductory of IoT. So here I'm trying to say is next generation will mostly target what are the different recent trends, especially in the deployment of IoT. So in that case, what are the different platforms protocols are there which enables the next generation IoT scenarios. So saying platforms protocols, there have been lots of organizations like IEEE, then IETF, then ITU. Those organizations already been working designing a repeat IoT deployment, IoT ecosystems for IoT ecosystems, and that they have proposed lots of protocols, technologies for communication and computing purposes. So along with this, there are a huge number of research organizations and people are working around to provide efficient, suitable IoT communication platforms. Yeah, please note that still the IoT, many of the IoT things like when you talk about computation and communication. So communication may be between sensor to sensor devices to gateway to further internet clouds. So there are lots of communication paradigms, lots of computing paradigm nowadays available. So in that case, there have been lots of process, lots of technologies are evolving. People are working on those. People are trying to find the suitable one through the performance analysis. So it is an ongoing process, and in the next generation IoT, we will be discussing some of the those technologies and platforms for like deployment, practical deployment. So in this lecture, we mostly concentrate on practically how IoT can be deployed and what are the issues it has. So that will be discussed in the final. So these are the outline. I will be initially discussing about IoT. We'll try to see how IoT can be implemented in different layers. Then talking about the stacks, technology stack, what are the different technology, what are the key enabler of IoT. And then we'll also see what are different sensors, actuators, which are very important component of IoT. Then gateways, edges are important nowadays, like due to the competition and communication attachment and supports. Then IoT platforms also very important in terms of software and hardwares that we'll discuss. The protocol stacks will be discussed considering the recent protocols that we have for IoT. Then IoT connectivity solutions, existing connectivity solutions, and what are the next generation it will be, that we'll also discuss. IoT heterogeneity problems, how mostly the heterogeneous problems, maybe in terms of technology protocols and data in terms of vendor specific heterogeneity. And then data analytics is important when you talk about smartness in IoT component. So that is also we'll be discussing. And then finally, with the existing literature, what is the state of the art and research challenges, that will be highlighted. So if you look at the evolution of IoT, so the concept of IoT started in the vision of all objects. So that is day-to-day objects, whatever we use every day. So if we are here around us, everything is object. We call it things. So how they connect, they connect acting and act smartly. So that is actually defined through IoT. So let us see how it is evolution. So initially there is a pre-internet phase. So in this phase, just maybe two computers are connected. It's called the communication, like we see in computer networks. And then we try to add a host in the web, in the internet. So then it becomes the internet. So this computer generally they can communicate through a network. It's called internet. And then due to the web, we can able to access those web, the hosting in the web. The nodes from anywhere in the world can be accessed, those resources of the web. And then the mobile devices has reached there. So it becomes like the mobile phones have internet there. Then people also get connected through the mobiles and maybe other devices people has. And then finally we talk about the interconnected objects. So it's become the things of internet. So this is the final stage. This is where we are now. So we are trying to connect all the objects to the internet for the facilities, for the facilities that we got from the internet. So we're trying to achieve the same for the all type of object around us. So things, it's not only the connected computers and mobile phones, but also sensors, actuator. It means day-to-day objects such as books, medicines, vehicle, TV. So the characteristics that these particular objects, they should have some connectivity solutions, so they can communicate. They can communicate. They should be identifiable for communication also. And then energy efficiency is another concern here, because they are very tiny in nature generally, battery operated. Of course, it will be. Then cost will be another concern. So the communication, the attachment, whatever we will be doing here in these objects. So cost will be very one of the key parameters here. Quality, reliability, of course, it will be there, because ultimately we will be depending on the technology that we will be using there. So dependency and full dependency depends on the quality and reliability of the particular technology. The reason why that one of the important parameters that when you talk about things, it is the huge numbers. So that is the reason we can see the trend of growing number of devices in the world, worldwide. So it is exponential nature. So if you consider 2005 figures, so there are 75 billions of devices, and if it's the population at that time, it is 8.1 billion. So it means there are 9 devices per person approximately. So from this figure, you can see like how the number of devices is growing. So yeah, another important parameters when you talk about smart IoT. So what actually we expect from that application? So so generally, if you consider application, for example, one elderly person were there, so we try to monitor through IoT systems, ecosystems. So generally, there is a context sensitivity is required. So what particular things that we are going to sense, and then through the gateway, those data will be forwarded to the cloud, and the cloud where context-aware computing will be done. So here, that what actually we are going to see from the from the sensing data. That is important here. And then that we call it service provider. That's generally like we host a web server here. The same thing also here can be IoT cloud. So that service provider will take actions, maybe one alert to the respective person. So then becomes the context aware communication. So here the context. So context is very important. That is the smartness. So accurately sensing the accurate problems, and then identifying accurate what is the problem, and then taking the context decisions using a contextual communication. This is how the smartness is coming. So this is the approach traditionally been used. Recently, there have been lots of machine learning AI-based approaches to improve this context sensitivity and context communication problems. So in many ways. So we'll be looking into those components one by one throughout the next, some of the slides. So if you see the application scenario, like this is called M2M OLT, of connected services of Internet of Things. So if you see the service sectors, if you divide, so basically these are the mostly all type of sectors we have in terms of technological areas. So buildings, maybe energies, consumer, home, healthcare, industry, transportation, retail, security, public safety, IoT, IT, and networking. So here, these are the sectors. Those sectors further can be divided into group of applications. Maybe in a building, there are commercial, institutional, then industrial buildings is there. So in this type of buildings, we can see the locations. So office, education, retails, these are the locations. Maybe some healthcare also is there, airport, stadium, and then process. So these are different locations. And in this location, finally, there we have the devices we deploy for IoT services. So lots of devices, huge number of devices will be deployed throughout the application location areas. So accordingly, we have the IoT applications. For example, for when you talk about smart applications, now it becomes maybe smart buildings, smart energy. So these are the processes are there for IoT services. Maybe smart industrial IoT, also it calls smart transportation. So everywhere we can see the IoT component, and that is the reason IoT is one of the fast growing technology that we should consider for our next generation, one of the next generation technology for our day-to-day life and improvement, performance improvement. So try to see some of the components in terms of recently proposed technologies and solutions for IoT ecosystems. So here we generally deploy huge number of devices, maybe for a city, smart city applications. There may be a huge number of wearables in a home. There can be cameras, switch, locks, so lights, etc., fans, etc. So we try to control those applications. In case of industry, healthcare, also industrial automation, healthcare automations. So these are the different applications areas where we deployed huge number of devices for sensing and actuating purposes. So once the sensing data is collected, so those data will be further forwarded through some communication technologies. So communication and networking it calls. So there are maybe if you talk about cellular technologies, 5G, 6G is there. Recently 6G has been talking about where IoT is one of the use cases of 6G. Low latency and ultra reliability communication can be achieved through 6G. Then LPWAN, low power wide area network, is one of the recently evolved communication technology which can give a longer range communication supports, which is very suitable because of sending low data rate traffics to the internet. And then IEEE 802.11a is one of the Wi-Fi, one of 802.11a standard proposed by IEEE. So IEEE generally proposed for Wi-Fi based communication where data rate is the main concern. But here this particular standard is also suitable for IoT communication where low power devices can communicate through a sub 1 gigahertz bandwidth. So even in single hop distance, it can cover up to 1 kilometer distance. So then recently there's in above 802.15.4e, there is a 6TICS solution. So they basically use channel hopping, new channel hopping schemes for improving scalability and reliability in low power communication mechanisms. Then among these, for better management of such network, there are concepts like software-defined network and network facilitation techniques is there. So these are the technologies which can efficiently handle to traffic forwarding towards the internet gateway, and then and vice versa also, from gateway to the sensing devices. So once we have received to the gateway devices, from there itself, if we have the computing capability in the devices, so there comes the fog computing and maybe different other approaches which can be deployed as per the capacity of the gateway device. So here comes, from here itself, it's come as computing solutions. So if it has the computing capability, so it's called infrastructure and platforms starts from here. So we can deploy our analytical module to study to make the system more smart. Device management is very important when we have large number of devices and low power devices. Data management is required also. Orchestration is important when recently, because of again the network management and data management things are there. So now also recently, like AI and ML based approaches are being widely used for making the application more smarter. Not only the application, but also the network communication protocols that we have, that can also be enhance their performance through this ML and AI based approaches. So finally, when you have the application, so from the application we can have, the application is very smart. It can they can have some prediction mechanism. It can forecast. So safety, security they can handle, and of course condition and monitoring, context monitoring they can do. So generally data flow and implementation can be done like this. So it generally places different sensors, actuators, maybe some robots also, machinery, drones, PLC, RFID, NFC type of devices at the end. And then for data collections, Wi-Fi, BLEs, so low power devices, low power communication technology devices are used here so that they can work through battery operated solutions. Then to enhance the data, there are lots of formatting is there. These are the common format, OL, RDF, XML. JSON are the format. So without formatting, it is difficult to extract the data because there are heterogeneous communication technology devices are there. So we need a standardized way to represent the data. So that is why it is important here, to identify the semantics of the data we have is coming from. And then for analyzing, which as I said, which can start from the edge itself. So prediction, forecasting, need to understand event-driven natures, what action can be taken, even you can take from there itself. Analytics, decision making are the things which are analyzed generally based on the data. Security is important. VPN, tunneling, filtering, anonymization, preprocessing are done in different layers, starting from the sensing device itself. And then finally, to provide the data, there are different data communication protocols, maybe one M2M, HTTP, MQTT protocols. These are some of the protocols which enables which us to get the data from the sensor resources. So we'd like to see some of the hardware package and software platforms. So most commonly use some of the platforms for sensors. So we generally use some boards where we can keep our communication modules as well as sensing modules and actuating modules, and also some battery slots are there. So this is an example of open mode, which is a package of CC2538 processor, microprocessor, and along with so the communication modules are there. So here it supports installing Contiki OS and other RTOS based open source operating systems, and those can be further programmed in different layers so that IoT for the research purpose and all. So this is one of the popular device that can be used. So as I said, this is a 802.15.4 based communication network. So low power communication, it is suitable. Also, there are very low cost devices available. For example, Node MCU uses ESP8266 is also, and that is for Wi-Fi. But for testing, it's around 300 to 100 to 300 cost. So that is for testing. That is also a good solutions for IoT testing. But when you talk about final deployment in a remote area where the device should be battery operated, this type of devices are suitable. So yeah, so like open mode, TeleSB is there, so which uses CC25 2420. Then Raspberry Pi type of device are used for higher computation, especially in the gateway device, or maybe some other computing device purposes. As I said, ESP8266 can be used also for IoT and devices to attach some sensors and actuators there. For software, there are for database operation, we need MongoDB has lots of new features which are more suitable for IoT deployment, deploying cloud or edge-based computing solution there. Arduino is one of the Arduino Studio is used for programming ESP8266 or Arduino boards. Available boards are there. Software platforms are important when you talk about a end-to-end connectivity. So there are lots of software platforms are there. So we call it IoT platforms, which actually enable us to connect the things to the internet. So among them are IBM Watson, Samsung T-Cloud, ThingSpeak is one of them. So for example, in ThingSpeak we can program the device to send the data to the ThingSpeak cloud, and then the visualization can be easily done through the ThingSpeak portal. And further, there is a talkback feature which can be also used to control the actuators, maybe one LED or maybe a light switch on off. That can be also done through the ThingSpeak IoT platform. Talking about a hardware package, let us try to see some of the features of Arduino. Arduino is one of the very low-cost IoT board. So when I say board, we can add sensors and actuators, but it also has capability to add your radio. Maybe we can add a ESP8266 Wi-Fi radio for communication purposes, and then it can have like Ethernet communication facility also for data forwarding and data reception with the IoT for internet facilities. So these are the different components of Arduino. So most important components are how the sensors and actuator can be added here. So for example, one temperature sensors. So these are the GPIO pins. So mostly for a sensor to be added, we need three components. One is the power it's required. For example, there you can see the VCC. Yeah, so these are the power. So as per the sensor device requirements, there can be 3.3 volts or 5 volts also. So these are the power points which can be used for providing power to the sensing module. So this is the power point, and then ground also important. So this ground pin also there. So this too is common for almost all type of devices. And most importantly, there is a GPIO pin, general purpose input output point, which is used to actually send the data which we want to send for the programmable way. For example, we like to switch on a LED or a light, a bulb. So then we need to send a message to the particular this device module so that it can act as per the message. So that particular pin is important. So we identify the pin, for example 5, and that pin is programmed to send or receive some data. So and then there will be some program written as per the data. So it will take action. Maybe some sensing value it's supposed to send. So it will, through the sensors, it will send the value to the required places, maybe in the cloud or as there. So these are different configurations. So it has 32 KB flash memory. There are many versions of Arduino which can be used. Especially you need to see what are the flash memories, what are the RAMs it has. So higher is the flash memory, you can program with higher size of ports that you want to do. Yeah, as per the as I said, communication, there can be ESP8266 for Wi-Fi communication, GSM, Bluetooth modules are available. Those can be used to connect different communication to communicate this type of device to the your nearest device, maybe a gateway or maybe some other nodes which can further forward the data to the cloud or internet. So the key enabler of IoT are mostly divided into two types. One are different physical devices and physical things, mostly sensors, actuators, and the communicating devices. So IoT devices includes this type of device includes transducers such as sensors, actuators, and objects are often called smart and intelligence. This, for example, a smart light bulb, connected valves and pumps are there. So it might smart meters, connected cars. So these are the different end nodes where these particular devices, IoT devices connecting things need to be added for sensing and actuating purposes. And then communication and data protocols, some of the other very important enabler of IoT, which actually help us to sense the required data or getting back the data from so that data to the required places. So maybe communication protocols are there. Communication protocols are responsible for how efficiently can be the data can be forwarded, because there are combination of a large number of networking protocols and concepts. So in different locations, communication protocols handles the communication problems there, and then data protocols finally extract the resources, different resources. For example, one devices may has multiple resources. For like one resource is responsible for taking the temperature, then another may be responsible for taking the humidity value. So those value will be directly taken by the data protocols. As I mentioned, data protocols are like MQTT, POAP protocol. So those protocol can directly extract the data value, and then later processing can be further done. So IoT technology stack mostly of three levels of devices. One is in the device level, where the concern is the sensors and actuators should be accurate. They should be, while sending the data should be, accuracy is important there in the device level. And then IoT gateway is one of the important parameters here, because this is the component which connects the internet with the devices, things. So this is the interfacing devices responsible for actionable data and business application. So when I take business application, the application requirement that we have, and those will be connected with the device, which is ultimately deployed to the field of IoT field. And then IoT platform layer is connect the business and consumers. So different logics, which is an intelligence computation is done through this IoT platform for end-to-end communication. It is important. So these are the key parameters, components of the IoT technology stack. So when you talk about devices, so we have to think about what type of device should be used in the IoT communication ecosystem. So generally the communication computing start from the end devices. These are the different stations. There can be multi-hop communication lasers, so we call it relays. So technology wise, there can be simply relay on upper layer solutions. If it is there can be mesh management also. Their routing solution will be there. So finally there will be sync node. So I'm saying a single term here, sync. It may not be, you can say this is a coordinator also. So there are lots of terms to use this type of thing, ultimately to collect the data here and further through a gateway, which is responsible for, as I said, connecting the upper layer network and the lower layer network. So this particular gateway itself can have the edge computing facilities, also called edge node. So, and then there can be some backbone network devices which are a little bit more computing power. So those devices can collect and further forward to the server and cloud. So this is how the communication works. So what is the computation we have to see is, so this particular device, there is hardly generally we do not do any computation in this type of thing, because of this particular device are very just to simply sense and taking the actuation. So and battery operated tiny devices, the objects we talk about. So these are it's better to keep computation and storing capability as less as possible, and then maybe we can increase a bit with this node. So slowly if we go towards the internet, so computing and storage capability can be increased. So important is that we should utilize the computing and storage they has. So concerning the energy efficiency in mind. So then the ecosystem of IoT can become smarter that we want to be. So yeah, computing capacity of devices need to see, storage capacity of the device also need to see, type of device and service that we need to deploy, that also need to be analyzed and check, deploy accordingly. Scalability, cost, efficiency, need to be analyzed to deploy a particular application, maybe particular module in these devices. Characteristics wise, storage and processor, and then heterogeneity also need to be checked throughout the deployment. So like starting from the sensing layer, the end devices. So this is called IoT things, what you talk about. So for sensing, what are the technologies generally used that we will see. So sensing, a sensor is a transducer. So how it works, basically there is a physical medium. So it see the temperature of the physical medium, the stimulus, and then which is done through the sensing element. Some conditioning is done powered by the voltage, and then target handling. It's basically the conversion of the conditioning value to the information. So finally, this information is important. So this sensing module is responsible for providing us the exact information from the physical medium that we are sensing. So this is the work of a sensor. So there are different sensors, maybe temperature, humidity, like acceleration sensors, luminosity sensors, we call it lux sensors. So lots of sensors are there. Those are the responsible for these are some of the key enabler of IoT, which is deployed in the end devices. So some more sensing devices are there, like sensor, temperature sensors, humidity, moisture sensors, pressure sensors, carbon monoxide sensors. So these are the sensors used in environmental scenarios monitoring and maybe air quality monitoring approaches. Some more sensors like, so there are some sensors which works like not the temperature, the state in sense mechanism they use, how the position has sensed that they try to monitor, and accordingly the value is suppose the information generated value is sent to the targeted location. So there can be position sensors, gyroscopes, accelerometer, proximity sensors, acoustic sensors. What about the actuator? So actuator is the node which is also deployed in a target location, maybe in the end devices itself. The purpose is taking some physical actions. So maybe suppose one fan in a room we want to switch on. So in that case, the device is programmed to through a GPIO pin, which take a single value, and from that, the low power device, which converts to a high mechanical force to switch on the device. So this is how it works. So logical signal which is received, and there is an amplification mechanism, signal processing is done. So then there is a hydraulic pneumatic process, electric process is there, which actually takes the actuation, which takes more and which requires more energy, more power there. So then finally actuation element is there, and also whether the actuator takes the actuation, that also there is a sensing element which actually takes read the value and accordingly check. So this actually verifies whether the actuator is working or not. For actuation, there are lots of devices, relay, light bulb. So even light bulb, we have to use a relay model. This is important. Channel relay is very important, where there are two sides communication. One is communicate to the device, and other side is the high power devices like this LED and motors and all. This is done. So we'll discuss some of the more practical implementation of this in that. So so how a sensor is connected? As I said, this is a DHT sensor. So this DHT sensor is responsible for sensing humidity and temperatures, which is especially suitable for Arduino type of devices. We can add in this type of devices. As I said, it has 3 points mostly used. One is the power, ground, and another is the data pin, which takes the actuation or sensor decisions.